ABC 7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us now. And Richard, a very strong day on Wall Street, the third day in a row for us after what we thought was the collapse of the world.
Scott, you've got that about right. I'm trying to think last Friday. It was called Brexit, I think. Now it rings a bell, but boy, oh boy, do we change things around in a hurry. Today, just as an example, not only were we up by more than 200 points, every index we follow was up by more than 1.3%. Today, of course, marks the end of the first half of the year. And for the first 6 months of the year, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up by 2.6%. The Standard & Poor's 500 index up by 2.3%. The only negative is the NASDAQ, and it was down by 3.5% for the first half of the year. So let's look at the final trading figures for the last trading day of the first half of the year. There you see the Dow up 235 points, 1.33%. Closing at 17,929.99 on heavy volume of 914 million shares. Next, we have the NASDAQ, and that is not an error. It is also up 1.33%, more than 63 points, closing at 4,842.67, also on heavy volume of 1,807 million shares. Last but not least, the S&P, and that's up 1.36%, up more than 28 points at 2,098.86. Well, there's a possibility of a huge takeover in the candy business. Hershey, you all know Hershey from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Well, they received an offer today of $107 a share from a company by the name of Mondelez International. Who are they? Mondelez? Well, how about they make Oreo cookies because they own Nabisco, Philadelphia cream cheese, Ritz crackers, Triscuits. I expect you probably know all of those. Well, they may be one. Believe it or not, Mondelez has offered to move its corporate headquarters from just outside of Chicago to Hershey, Pennsylvania, and has even offered to have the company change its name to the Hershey Company. So we'll have to see what happens, but shares of Hershey, a pretty sweet deal today, up 17% in one day. Pretty darn good.
Sweet for sure.
Yeah,
and Richard, your thoughts on the second half of the year as we head into that?
Well, I'd like to say I know what's going to happen, but I will tell you this. We've got a presidential election, which certainly will be interesting on lots of fronts. We will have to deal with whatever Brexit brings us in the next few months, and certainly the Fed will or will they not do anything about interest rates. But it's all still about corporate earnings. If earnings for the third quarter are strong, we could have a very good finish to the year.
All right, Richard, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome.